Guys, I am going to confess I might be one of the biggest hoarders in the history of Etheria Restart, but I'm happy to say I will reform myself over the next week. This will finally come to an end. No longer will I have 15 perfect lattices and 21 red shadow prints, so on and so on. We're going to break it all down in this video. How the heck are you? I'm Fastidious, but you can call me Fasty. This is Fasty Gotcha. We cover Etheria Restart every single day. Let's talk about hoarding and why I am finally laying waste to this habit of mine. So why have I done this? Well, if you don't know, if you're new here, thank you for being here. Consider subscribing to the channel. But also, I'm a fully pure free-to-play account. Not to brag or make anything of that, but just to say, because I'm free to play and because I like to min-max, I want to be sure that I am not wasting resources. And though I played the final test, the open beta in Etheria Restart, metas are always changing, things are evolving, and I made it a goal to play as minimally as possible. There's one thing I haven't shown you yet, maybe you saw it in the thumbnail. I also have an enormous stash of mental stabilizers. I have used some of these, maybe 40 ever, something like that, but I do have quite the stockpile. So why do I have all this stuff? Why am I sitting around not playing the game? And why am I gonna finally start? I'm not saying anyone should do this, but basically, I knew this being a PvP game, I did not want to invest anything that would not help me with PvP unless I had to do it for basic PvE progression. So it's not like I haven't done anything on this account. You know, I've been farming my Hell 4 thresholds for a while. I have used some perfect lattices, namely on Rosa, who's my favorite character in the game. We maxed out the S2 and the S3. The only other perfect lattices I've ever used on the account, we have Heinrich's S3, we have Klaus's S3 I brought to level 3. We got Hoarding's S3 I brought to level 3. I maxed out Real Mocha's S3. That is going to be it. So if you add it all up together, we have maxed out 4 skills. That is 16 perfect lattices. Rosa's S2, Rosa's S3, Heinrich's S3, and Real Mocha's S3. And then we've half leveled up, level 3'd the S3 of Hoarding and Klaus. So in total, I've used 20. I have 15 left over. I'm about to get a 16th. But basically, to this point, I only wanted to use skill ups that I thought would immediately help me progress in PvP. I even regret some of this, right? I did not need to max Heinrich's S3. He was just my first LD. I re-rolled for him, so I wanted to max that out. That was actually the first skill I maxed out in this game. But PvP, you can progress a lot while not over-investing in units. I took this a step further. I only have 6 stars on the entire account. We, of course, have my girl Rosa up here, and then we've got Heinrich, Klaus, Hoarding, Real Mocha, and finally D Ting. I can make a ton more. I can make at least 7 right now with all the materials I can put together. We got all our shadow prints, just a ton. Now, I'm not trying to show off this storage, but I want to explain why I did what I did. I never wanted to invest until I saw a path to being somewhat competitive as I would see it in the arena, and that was completely untenable to this point. I didn't have the best summon luck, so it took me a while to progress through a lot of these thresholds and certainly the Grim Pursuits, and I basically decided I wasn't gonna start making big decisions until I'd beaten Doki Doki Inferno, and this afternoon we finally did. So if we want to do a quick progress check-in, we have Inferno on Terramaton and Doki, only Hell 4 on Aurora right now, and actually I'm still only at Nico Nana for Inferno, though once we build our Shadow Sonya that we pulled the other day, we're gonna get Shadow Flame Hoyan as well. Now that I finally have a path to get good gear and start creating some ideas for a good PvP progression, I'm really comfortable 6-starring some units and deciding where I want to invest my skill ups. I think it's really important to save as many skill ups as possible, as many perfect lattices as possible in this game for PvP units. And frankly, you're not going to know who your good PvP units are until you're ready to push in PvP. The meta is always changing. We have a new season of real-time arena now. Bloodbath is king. Revelation is a little bit out. So it's really important, or it was really important to me, to see the direction the game was heading. That certainly is not to say there will not be more changes in PvP. There won't be a rebalance before season 2, so on and so on. But finally now I see a path with the Blessings Galore event starting this weekend, with Doki Doki Inferno on farm, with over 100 mental stabilizers, that we can really go in, get the good gear. I know the units I want to invest in, and I can start skilling them up too. So I actually have a whole video planned on this for next week for my entire progression and how I plan to climb in RTA. And that's not to say we're going to get to Mythic, but could we get to something pretty respectable in Summit? We're obviously way down here right now, but could we get to at least Diamond? Could we hang out there? Could we at least make progress to Platinum? Maybe higher. But now that I have my content sorted, now that I have a path to progress, we can go ahead and do it. You may be asking though, if you want to progress in this game, why haven't you invested stuff earlier? And frankly, it's because since stamina in this game is static, since stability exists mostly outside of daily farming in the form of these mental stabilizers, and you can still farm optimally every day if you have at least one Infernal Shell farm max. So for me, that's the Grim Pursuit Nico Nana. You can technically be in a somewhat optimal state, though it's not perfectly optimal because I haven't progressed as fast as I would have wanted to, a somewhat optimal state every single day while waiting and delaying that moment to burst and have a big progression. So that's what I'm hoping for myself. Will it happen? We'll have to see. There's gonna have to be some luck in the Doki Doki farming this coming weekend. I'm also gonna be away at a bachelor party, so I don't know if I'll be able to farm in my pocket, replaying the 8 battles over and over as much as possible, but I do think the account will have a huge surge. So just to give you a taste, we're gonna do tons of Doki farming. The only way I'll stop Doki farming and move to anything else is if I think I've gotten so much good gear, I've got a shot at Aurora. I think that's a pretty long shot, so I think it will mostly just be Doki, touch of investigation, and a touch of GP, obviously, to supplement those skills. And speaking of skills, I don't want to break it all down now because I don't want to spoil next week's video, but without a doubt, we have my boy Hoarding over here. I do think getting level 3 on his S3 was necessary for my account when I did it, but at this point, I need this S1 maxed. I need this S2 maxed. I want him as a DPS. I want him as a defense bruiser in PvP. I want him to help us climb. And another one I want to shout out that I've been sitting on forever is the S1 over here for Ling Luo. Shout out to my boy Ronnie. I think he was the first person I ever heard of shouting out this skill. It is obviously a great skill, but people actually slept on this for a minute. Even with those 3 new skills maxed out, that's 12. We have another 3 perfect lattices left over, and I'm gonna get at least 2 more before the week's over. So there's a lot of cool stuff cooking up. Stick around if you wanna see how this account continues to progress. Will this weekend and then the coming week after it be as momentous as I'm hoping? Or am I a fool that delayed all my progress in the game for too long? You gotta stick around and wait and see. So let's see. I'm excited, guys. I still love Etheria Restart, playing this game every single day. We're covering it every day on this channel, as well as my Twitch, twitch.tv/fastidious_GG. Link in the description and the top and comment. I appreciate you guys taking the time to indulge me during this video explaining my craziness. And I'm so excited to have finally filmed this video because I can finally go build some of these units. I will tell you, the second this video ends, I'm going to 6-star my Kazuyo the Reverie, because then I will have a much higher completion percentage on my Doki Inferno. And you know what? As I say that, let's rip the band-aid off. There's our 7th 6-star. We need that 5-speed. Also for PvP. I can't wait to use her in PvP. Guys, thank you so much. I've been Fastidious. If you like the stuff, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to Mitchell for editing this video. Share with your mother, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.